Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, increase your ability to influence others, and increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Perry Holley, a Maxwell Leadership Facilitator and Coach.
I'm Goede, Executive Vice President with Maxwell Leadership. Welcome, and thank you for joining today. We're going to dive in, and I'm super excited about this title today because oftentimes people think that you need to be this to be a leader. And I don't necessarily attribute this to my own kind of way that I lead. But after today, I hope you'll see it a little bit differently, because I think there are ways for us to be able to do this. And you're like, well, what are you talking about? I'm going to tell you that in just a minute. But if you'll go to maxwellleadership.com/executive podcast, there you can learn more about the 5 levels of leadership, the 360-degree leader that we love teaching inside organizations and or coaching team members through that process. I want you to go there, visit, you can fill out the form, leave us a question. We'll get back to you. Our team will respond, but we would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching and bringing this content to your team. Well, today's topic is, but I don't feel charismatic. Now, listen, when I think about somebody that's charismatic, right, I think about somebody that just comes in and startles people with coloration, almost kind of like an orange tree frog. It's like, bam, there I am. And that's how they try to get rid of their,
That's exactly
I don't know where that came
is.
from.
Oh,
Okay,
really?
So that's probably the deepest leadership thought that I ever gave you. But
Well, the orange tree frog is out of bounds. I mean, that really sets, I thought you said it really well.
like, I mean,
Boom.
it's just like there, I am a charismatic leader. And that's not what we're going to talk about today.
No.
And this is actually based off of, and we're going to, a book that John just recently came out with called The Charismatic Leader. And so we're super excited about this. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, Perry is not holding a orange tree frog. It's actually John's book, the Charismatic Leader. I want to start with this story, though. This probably would go down as one of the most charismatic presidents that we've ever had. Mm-hmm. And so this story is going to speak into and lead us right into the conversation we want to have today. And it is called The Balloon Guy. So during the 2004 Democratic National Convention, Bill Clinton was backstage after his speech, waiting for the big balloon drop. But there was a problem. The balloons weren't dropping. I know you've probably been on stages before, and like you're
I
like,
hate it when that happens.
something's not, and you're waiting for a marker, and you're just
Right.
So then they find out that, okay, there's a problem. The technicians were frantically trying to fix it, and the tension was rising. Suddenly, Clinton, ever the charismatic charmer, strolled over to the balloon drop operator, put his hand on the guy's shoulders, and said, "Don't worry, you're doing great. But if you could get those balloons down, you'd be doing even better." Now, can you imagine that individual in that moment, the president, at that convention saying that to you? So then he flashed his grin at him, and everyone burst out laughing. And the stressed out technician was even part of that. And he just probably completely neutralized the stress in the moment. The ice was broken, and then the balloons finally dropped. So here's what we're trying to get at, the moral of the story, right? Charisma is not just about like being loud and colorful and commanding the room. That's not what we're talking about here. It's about making people and connecting with them so they feel at ease. There's no awkward moments. And this Clinton's ability to inject humor in this situation and warmth and connection to that individual, that technician who thought, oh dear gosh, I'm failing everybody in the entire United States right now, is how he turned that stress into smiles. And I have a feeling that because of that, those balloons dropped a little bit faster than if they wouldn't have. So I love it. I love the story. And it really gives a look at what charisma is versus what people think it is. And that's what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, and that's most people you would say about having charisma or being charismatic is that I either have it or you don't. And
Yeah.
I'm just not charismatic. And you had to be born with it, but you have to be, attractive and tall and athletic and talented. And looking at two of us, that doesn't hurt.
No. I mean, it's helped a little bit, we're just saying, not saying.
But in the book, John makes it very clear, just like that we say the leaders are made, they're not born, that you can learn leadership, you can learn charisma as well. And so what's the secret to charisma? It's simple. It's about focusing on other people. And if to be charismatic, you just need to care about other people and make them feel important?
I love that.
Can you care about someone and make them feel important? And you think about the Clinton story that, he had a way of doing that, just making I heard this in many places, if you read about him, that when you're in his presence, he paid attention to you.
Yeah.
You felt seen, you felt important. Even though he was the leader of the free world,
Right.
you felt important.
Right.
And I just love that, the simplicity of that. Now we can talk about some things we can do and that's what the book goes into, the skills needed to connect with people. But I hear us, we say it here all the time, we don't care what business you're in the people business.
You're in the people business.
We think we're not in leadership development. We're in the people business doing leadership development.
That's right.
And so everything's a people business.
Yeah.
And this is going to be important if you're going to connect with others. You're going to drive your charisma is going to be about how do you care for them.
Just like we say that in the 5 levels, moving from level 1 to level 2 to connect with people, you have to be very intentional. You got to develop the skill set to be able to do that. And that's what you're telling us right here, is that this can be developed. And this is a skill set, some of the things we're going to talk about today, that will root in success your ability to have level 2 influence with people if you understand this. And I love what you're talking about there, about how do we focus on others. And our mission statement here at Maxwell Leadership is how do we add value to leaders, right? So they can multiply that value into others. And so not only are we focusing on them first, but then it's going to make them feel important as they're helping lead other people and change their lives. And so that, in essence, is what we're talking about here. In the book, to no one's surprise, John reveals 21 skills to connect with people. John loves using numbers tied to books, 5 levels and 21. Here is a 3-part model that I want to share with you. Number 1, become interested in people. Now, nothing we're going to share with you today is life altering. Like you're like, oh my gosh, that was brilliant.
Rocket science. No,
it's something that's very simple, but yet not easy to do. And people forget it, right? They get focused on themselves. The second one, become invested in people. So interested in people, invested in people. And then number 3, become interesting to people. Remember this order. I think the order is extremely important, right? Because if someone comes to me and we start connecting, they want to be extremely interesting to me right away, I'm not connecting with them. I'll kind of put a wall up and shut down. And so we don't have time, to walk through all 21, but we are going to walk through a couple of them. And here's what I love what Perry talked about. These can be developed. And so I think that there is hope even for the most non-charismatic leaders that are out there right now.
Yeah, I like, and we always love the way John writes. It's simple and it's written for guys like us who need it kind of spelled out, and they all start with an I. But this invested in others, interested in others, and be interesting to others. You said it's easy, and I'm thinking Jim Rohn had a quote. He said, "It's so easy to do, it's easy not to do."
Ooh,
and we don't
like
do
that.
it. We just it seems like, didn't I do that? No, and you said it well. I'm kind of focused on me and what I've got going on, and so this idea of charisma comes out of the nature of others orientation and noticing others. So the first one was starts with becoming interested in other people and what you care about people. Do you learn about them? Do you find them interesting? Are you we're going to talk about curiosity. We've got another podcast on that, but do you believe the best of others and extend to them grace and forgiveness? It's a very winning quality. I just noticed that people are connected to people who are interested in them.
Yeah.
And you've never really walked away from somebody who was showing interest in you.
No.
It connects people with that. So again, it sounds easy.
No. It all comes down to how do you see people? Now,
I ask this question all the time.
This is interesting because I think Perry and I would tell you that we see people as we are, right? Not as they are. Now, this is maybe a whole nother podcast because it's how then you're looking internally at yourself. So you need to evaluate that and assess that. But what we're trying to get to today is, what is the lens that you now see people at? Mm-hmm. And do you believe deep down that you're put a 10 on their head? John is notorious for this. He believes in people and he sees people for the best until they're not. And that's how he goes about it. And here's why he goes about it that way. His father, Melvin, who I've had the chance to meet and spend time with over the years until he passed away, was a tremendous leader. Here's what he taught him, and a statement that we have. from Melvin to John. He said, listen, John, he said, if you will value people, believe in them, and love them unconditionally, if you do those things every single day to the people around you, you will be successful. That's his dad explaining to John how to be a charismatic leader. Now, not in there was any boisterous thing that happened. Anybody showing a bunch of color and bling bling and all this stuff. No. It was about valuing people, believing in them, and unconditionally believing in them. That's how you become charismatic.
Hey, podcast listeners. Many of you listening right now would probably love the autonomy that comes with owning your own business or becoming a coach that helps other businesses succeed. Well, we have a phenomenal strategy where you are 100% in control of your own business, earning income on your own terms, and have access to the people, tools, and resources you need to build a thriving leadership development business. When you become a Maxwell Leadership Certified team member, you join a global community of entrepreneurs led by our expert team of mentors and faculty, including John C. Maxwell. You'll also get one of the top leadership certifications in the world next to your name, giving you the boost you need to get started. Visit us online at maxwellleadership.com/join the team to find out more.
You just cannot be charismatic or come across that way to others if you don't appreciate people and see them in a positive light.
Yep.
And truly, people disappoint. People are messy.
100% they're going to let you down.
This is not about them being worthy. This is about you giving and valuing them. John quotes Les Giblin, a friend of his, in the book about that you can't make a fellow feel important if secretly in your presence you secretly feel you don't like him. You think he's a nobody. You can't. If I think you're nobody behind your back, I'm not going to make you feel valued to your face. So it's
and they can see right through that too. Right?
Yeah, people can tell.
Yeah, they can.
And John will tell you that people rise to your level of how you make them feel. They'll rise to your level of expectation. But he just talks in the book, we won't dive into it, but he goes into at this level of in being interested in others is that do you show value to people? Do you make yourself more valuable to people? And do you know what people value? And you think about those three things is that it starts with me valuing you. Then it says that how can I make myself more valuable to you?
Right.
So, and then do I even understand what it is you value? So you think if you did that for everybody on your team, just had three little lines and says, okay, how can I value Chris? How can I make myself more valuable to Chris? And how can I understand what Chris values?
Yeah.
You're just making yourself more attractive.
100%. Yeah. And I love what you said, right? There are harder people to like than others. And so this is harder to do with others, depending on your behavioral traits, your temperament, whether or not you ignore long emails or you want to have phone calls. Like there are people that you really have to work hard to figure out what these three are. But I love this because this is very simple. What if you guys hear us talk about creating cheat sheets and spreadsheets, what are their values? What is their personality? How do they like to be led? Like you need to know that. And these three go right along with that. And so John has also talked about how do we continue to give people the AAA treatment. And for the AAA, what he's talking about is, again, how do we give them attention? Now that is, I love what you said just a minute ago, like being in their presence, like being present when you're in their presence.
That's it. Well said.
Because there's a lot of times that you and I've been in conversations with people, they're in our presence, but they're not present.
Yeah, you're distracted or you're.
And the greatest compliment somebody could give you is like, man, we started off earlier, we were talking about President Clinton. It was like I was the only one in his mind of what's going on in the entire free world because he was completely present. What does that look like? So attention's the first one. Second one is affirmation. Now this is, I want to make sure everybody understands, man, please do this authentically, right? And speak to their strengths and what you see in them, not the outcomes. It's like who they are versus what they do. Like, because remember, we're talking about being, having charisma and leading individuals and connecting with them. So I want to make that distinction right there that we talk about. You're giving affirmation in their strengths, not necessarily the outcome. And the final A is appreciation. How do we celebrate our people in a way that celebrates the character of who they are. Like, there are things that they just innately do because of their character that you need to celebrate. So again, we'll go back to the statement. It sounds easy. It's easy to forget, but it's so hard to do. But we have to be very intentional about doing this, especially to those that are not like you, because you don't want to do it, right? You're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm out. You want to disconnect from people that are not similar to you. And so you got to be very, very intentional about making sure that you're doing the same thing for those that you disconnect with, that are on your team, that those you connect very easily with.
And I love this, the practicality of those 3 A's, just making it something you think about on a regular basis. Am I making you feel seen? I'm giving you the right attention. Am I affirming you and what you're doing in your work and the importance of your work? I'm affirming you as a person and as a teammate. And then am I appreciating you and thanking you and making you feel valued for what you do and how you add to our team? Again, you're making yourself, you're becoming charismatic because people are drawn to you, and because how important you make them feel to do that. But after, being interested in people, John says the second part was to become invested in people. And you start thinking, well, how do I invest in others? How do I invest in those on my team? And everybody probably has heard of the famous Zig Ziglar quote that you can have anything you want in life if you'll help other people get what they want in life. Yeah. And so it really comes down to that is, am I helping you get what you want? I'm invested in your success and John will say, becoming quick to help. That do you have your antennae up? Are you looking around? Are you noticing where people are? What are they struggling with? You make others a priority. You look for where they need help, and then you jump in and find a place to help them. What do you think investing in others, is that where your mind goes or something else? Yeah,
no, I like that. A couple of things that I wrote down here is the quick to react for me is just being available. That's not always easy for us to do. Because of all of our schedules, personally and professionally, right? Availability is tough. So that would be a key one. The other one I wrote down was consistency. It's knowing that it's consistently there, not that it was a front that I had to put on, that I did this once a week or whatever. Right. It's like, it's the consistent behavior. The other thing about that I wrote down is, how do I take opportunities that I have? John is the master at this, and open doors for other people to experience those experiences. Right. And so how do I use the platform, whatever your platform is, we all have a platform, to open doors to expose them to other things that maybe they would never have the chance to be exposed to if it weren't for them being connected to you? How do you go about doing that? And if you can pair all that together, man, I think that's a recipe for great connection with your people.
I love that. And the third part, so once you become interested in others and invested in others, you want to become interesting to others. And this is talked about being the person that, are you the person that does everything with excellence? And that how people become interested in people who just do things well. And if you hone your talent and absolute best of ability, you benefit others, and that builds charisma. People are seeing you as, they're drawn to you, attracted to you because you're excellent at what you do and you freely share. And I like this idea of becoming very interesting to others. What would make somebody interested in you? Well, you're really good at what you do, and you're always willing to share and to help and to include me in the things you're doing. I thought, now you're charismatic.
Yeah. So as I wrap up for us, and again, the new book John just came out with, The Charismatic Leader, 21 Skills to Connect with People. And we have that here in studio we're holding up. We'd encourage you to grab that book. It's a great little coffee table, quick read book. As I wrap up, really what we're talking about is abundance versus scarcity when leading and connecting to people. Many thoughts come to mind as I say that, even in the 5 levels of leadership. The reason why there's a lid, I think, at most organizations around the world, is that there's a lid right above level 3, and people don't understand the power and the multiplication of what could happen if they truly understand how to develop people. And businesses and organizations can only grow at the capacity where their leaders are. And the ability to be able to do some of the things we're talking about right here, I think lifts the ability to do that. But you got to have an abundance mindset to be able to do that, because it takes time. You got to teach them what, teach them what you know. You got to be okay with that. You got to see the potential in them. You got to empower them to do things. But when you do that, it builds a culture of where your people are going to thrive. They're going to be connected versus the other side of it, right? Is if we do the scarcity side things, you guys know what that's like. How many of you have worked with or connected with a leader that had the scarcity mindset? Like, how much charisma was in that conversation, right?
True.
None, right? It's like,
about them.
yeah, I mean, it's just all about them. It's your favorite, saying WIIFM, right? And it's like, we close the doors. There's no connection to them. So anyways, I just want to encourage you, again, a simple topic. It's easy, but it's not easy to do. And it's probably easy to forget. And I think the longer we probably led, the more unaware we become, we don't do this stuff. Right. And we take people for granted, I think. But especially those closest to us. Right. If those that are closest to us are our inner circle, we should really be going after this. So hopefully this just was a little nugget in there for you guys today, listening or watching, and it's going to make a difference in how you're going to lead this week, either in your personal life or your professional life.
And I always think, would your team be more engaged or less engaged if you were more charismatic? Would your team be more bought in or less bought in if you were more charismatic?
Yeah.
And even though it's a weird word and we don't use it that much, it kind of brings up an image in our mind. You can be more charismatic, attractive to people so that they want to go to work with you. They don't have to work for you. They want to work with you.
So good.
And that's the beautiful part of that. So if you want to know more about this topic, to get the learner guide, to learn more about the 5 levels or the 360 leader, our other podcasts, you can do all that at maxwellleadership.com/executive podcast. You can also leave us a comment or a question. We love hearing from you. Very grateful you spend this time with us. That's all today from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.